As a promotion of some highlighted thematic touring and cycling destinations in Hungary, the guests from international cycling media have paid a visit to the Muraland region. This part of the country is characterized by extremely low traffic. The quiet roads lend themselves to cycle touring surrounded by a characteristic remote landscape. Although more and more people are discovering the mostly unspoiled natural environment of this region, it's still important for local governments to organize such study tours. It would be difficult to find a better way to experience the local vineyards and the rare natural sights of this region than by bicycle. The Mura program puts a lot of emphasis on improving the cycling and hiking infrastructure so visitors may enjoy a more and more pleasant experience rolling about these wonderful landscapes within the next few years. This was one of the topics addressed by State Secretary Peter Cseresnyes, representing the Ministry of Innovation and Technology, at the press conference in Lispecentadorian. In close cooperation with private companies, we can establish new cycling routes, also resulting in other large-scale touristic investments. If the visitors make a trip to the ancient beaches in Thormafolda, they can experience a number of such designated bicycle ways. And thanks to the infrastructure development of the program, they are also of high standard, much better than when they served as agricultural roads. Muraland is characterized by very low vehicle turnover, which also makes it an ideal destination for cyclists. Moreover, tackling the multitude of grapevine hills could become quite a sporting challenge. During the last 2 days of this study tour, the group started out from the Rejcek guest house in Lispecentadorian to discover the Muraland region, the area between Nagykanizsa and the western borderline of Hungary. In recent years, the shredding of oil resources led to the general impoverishment of the inhabitants. Hence, the Mura program aims to boost the economy of the region by developing tourism, especially cycle touring, and agriculture. Dozens of kilometers of new bicycle roads have been built in recent years, and over 100 kilometers of bicycle routes have been marked out on the existing road network. The Muraland region is rich in nature resources. Therefore, the Mura program plans to establish 5 or 6 tourist centers like the one the group visited in Lispecentadorian, especially designed for hikers and cyclists. During the first day around Muraland, not encountering any motorized traffic, the cyclists rode along a minor road lined with ancient beaches to Thormafolda, followed by a steep ramp to a fig tree plantation. It was clearly worth the effort, partly for the view and also to enjoy tables full of fine snacks and kind hospitality. The fig thankfully likes this area, and we use no pesticide in its cultivation. The produce is now large enough that we can not only serve our guests with locally prepared fig jam, but also offer other food products like dried figs and even bran. We are very proud to have all this here in Thormafolda. The next stop was at Széchenyi at another watermill. This time no grain was ground. Nevertheless, the renovated building houses a small museum. There were many delicious gastronomic treats for the experienced journalists during the bicycle tour, one of which was the lavender syrup prepared at the plantation in Iklódberdache, accompanied by similarly flavored biscuits. We would like to protect this environment by having a bio-plantation culture, which we cultivate mostly by hand and some small machinery. On the last day of the study tour, the group headed towards Nagykanizsa, overcoming the hardest climb of Tour de Zalacaroche at Borzance. One of the most memorable stages of the tour was at the Hajthatar goat farm in Megyarszerdahely, where participants had a chance to taste an assortment of food specialties all made from goat's milk. The goat cheese was merely the appetizer, followed by the famous potato de delay, prepared and served by Aunt Irma in the garden of the Kenli Mayur artist colony in Kishraichi. The visitors then had the opportunity to carve souvenirs by hand or could simply relax with a few pints of beer. This is the 26th year we organized this camp. It just ended last week with great success. We had 33 artists from 14 countries who spent every minute in the artist colony, not even wanting to leave to take excursions. They seemed to love the friendly atmosphere. On the final day, the group visited some sparsely populated areas and also rode around the countryside of the former oil industry center, Najkanicha. One of the country's best mountain bike trails can be found next to the boating lake near Najkanicha, as well as a public bike sharing system and other sports facilities such as kayaking. It's well worth visiting the sport and recreation complex, especially for someone who wishes to do some physical training. Although the journalists were off their bikes, the program was far from over. The visit to the city of Kanicha was concluded by a cafe stop on the main square of the city, where an official from the local government greeted the team before the evening meal. The representatives of major cycling nations left the program rich in experience and vowed to return to acquaint themselves with other regions of our country. Beautiful adventure here in Hungary, a paradise in the open air where the care of the green is always impeccable. Around each house you notice the utmost attention to the environment, and there is no waste in the streets. The roads are quiet and silent, and the traffic is zero. Hungary is therefore an ideal place to practice cycling, an adventure to do and an adventure to remember, surely. After 3 days in the hills of the county of Zala, I can say that of course we cycled, and the terrain is ideal for that. We even participated in a very well-organized Grand Fondo and whose level was raised. But more than a sporting holiday, it was again the opportunity for everyone to discover, as always when you travel authentically, the articulation of similarities and differences with their own way of life. All these everyday things, housing, gastronomy, and cooking. We met a lot of people, cheese producers, winemakers, mills, artists. So far from me the idea of saying that cycling was a pretext, but there is so much to discover that it cannot be the only goal of the visit. In summary, it would be a shame to come here just to train. Let's say, come visit the country, do it by riding your bike. This was my first time in Hungary. We had pretty good weather, around 30 degrees, sometimes a bit less, which is even better for cycling. The rides were awesome, although some streets are a bit bumpy, but the general feeling is sometimes like in Belgium. You've got a lot of short, steep hills. And the best of all is, there's no traffic at all. So there are great conditions for cyclists, many forests, a lot of nature, few cities. Hungary is still an insider's tip about cycling in Europe. It's not far away, it has great weather, and plenty of fine food. So please go on and try it by yourself.